Hi everyone, it's Nicole, and today I'm bringing you a collaboration video. So every month the Romance Booktubers come together to give you a little clip of their favorite romance reads for the month. And July, it is my turn to host. So without further ado, I'm gonna let my romance buddies take over, and then I'll see you at the end for my favorite romance.
Hello, I'm Stephanie. I have a channel on YouTube called Steph's Romance Book Talk, and I love this video. I love giving my favorite or one of my favorite books for the month, and this is my July favorite. It was super hard to figure out which one I wanted to go through, and I kind of wanted to give one that was universal for everyone to read, but at the same time, this book is not universal for everyone, but it was just that good. It's still on my brain, and I think you guys should go check out Quarantine and Chill by Kenya Wright. Now, I know you're probably thinking in the back of your head, we're still dealing with this pandemic here in the United States, and do I really want to read a book based on being quarantined? And for this book, I say yes, you do. Oh my goodness. So this story revolves around Kamal and Jade. Kamal is this CEO of a business. He has to shut down his business and send his workers home, things like that. He's very well off, but he also has a sister, and that sister is off on her honeymoon. So she has her best friend that they have grown up with staying at her apartment. Well, when Kamal ends up getting to his condo, he finds that his girlfriend, who has been spiraling lately, is doing some unsavory things in his apartment. So he ends up going to his sister's apartment thinking she's off on her honeymoon, the apartment will be free, and lo and behold, Jade is actually staying there taking care of his sister's dog. So, as I said before, Jade and Kamal and the sister have grown up together, so they really are kind of friends beforehand, but they didn't see each other as anything more. And this is sort of their coming together while they're in quarantine. At the same time, there are some very, very steamy moments that end up happening. And if you're reading this as an ebook, which you would have to because I don't think it's on audiobook yet, but this ebook has some not safe for work artwork within it, and whoo, caught me off guard. Just make sure nobody's looking over your shoulder when you decide to read this. But all the artwork is absolutely amazing. I mean, besides being unsafe for work, there is some safe for work artwork that's in there, and it's beautiful, and it helps move the story along. And I just really, really loved this story, and the way Kenya kind of takes this very sensitive subject and, you know, continues on with it, or gives sort of a little piece of something plus extra, was just amazing. So I think you guys should take a chance and read a quarantine book, and that book is Quarantine and Chill by Kenya Wright.
Hi guys, it's Ashley from Ashart Books, and my favorite book for the month of July was Just a Heartbeat Away by Kara Bastone. So I read a lot of really great books in July, so it was kind of hard for me to pick this month, but I just kind of went with the one that I just kept thinking about and was kind of stuck in my brain, and it was this one for me. So this is a book about, it takes place in New York City, and it's about a single dad named Sebastian who, at the beginning of the book, his wife has just unfortunately passed away, and he's kind of just grappling with how to move on, how to help raise his son, and he's kind of very deep in despair at the beginning of the book. And then it follows Via, who is his son's teacher in preschool, and she is really just such a kind-hearted person. She sees him struggling and really just wants to help, purely as like a friend, and kind of gives him some like help and some advice to kind of pull him out and get himself kind of back together after the death of his wife. And there kind of is a time jump, and then they meet again when Via is the guidance counselor at the new school, and they kind of strike up this friendship, and it was just so adorable. I loved Via, I love Sebastian. This does have an age gap in it. Obviously they're both adults, but there is an age gap that's pretty significant, and I think one of the challenges was Sebastian feeling like Via wasn't at the same place in her life, and her kind of having to convince him that yeah, she was. I loved it. It was also a kind of friends to lovers in a way. They definitely were friends first and then kind of fell into a relationship. Obviously there's a single dad trope in here because he is a single dad at this point. I just thought it was adorable. It was funny. This one really sucked me in from the beginning, and the writing just really had me from page one. I wanted to know these people because they felt so real to me. So if you're looking for a contemporary romance to pick up, I really would suggest this one by Cara Bastone.
Hi everyone, my name is Chloe and my channel name is Always Booked, and I'm here today to tell you about my favorite romance of July. So the book I am choosing is The Mistletoe Secret by Richard Paul Evans. This is a book I read for Christmas in July-a-thon that I co-hosted, and I loved tucking into this sweet little Christmas book in the middle of 100-degree weather here in the Midwest, and this was just so great. It is about a man who follows this blog, and the woman who writes it just talks about loneliness and how she is lonely but trying to be content, and she just uses her initials, which are TBH, I think, maybe. And so he goes to find TBH. He goes to find who she is. So he figures out what town she lives in, goes there, and then starts a search for every woman with those initials in the town. He has this woman who works in the Mistletoe Diner help him, and they strike up a really sweet friendship, and he thinks he finds TBH, and just the relationship is so great. This is a very much Sleepless in Seattle type trope, and I loved it, and it was so very good. There's not a whole lot of Christmas. It's pretty Christmas light, if you ask me, but it was still so sweet. So it's a very short book. I think it's like a 5-hour audiobook or just a couple hundred pages. I would highly recommend this for sure this winter, but you could really read it anytime. So this is my favorite romance of July.
Hello friends and enemies, I'm Isabel from Happy For Now with my July favorite. This is so hard this month, yet again, to pick a favorite, but I think I have one. So I'm going to talk about a book that is honestly, it wasn't a 5-star read, but it was such a good book that I really wanted to share the joy of it with everyone. And that is Hairpin Curves by Aaliyah Winters. This book is a sapphic road trip, friends to lovers. They go from Florida to Quebec, Montreal, Quebec, and they are finding themselves in their mid-20s and figuring life out together on this road trip and falling in love. What more could you want? Because it was so cute. It felt like the perfect read for right now because it's hot here, and I know it's hot a lot of other places, and it's set in the winter, so you kind of like, they went and saw snow for the first time, and I just loved the like oppositions of their personality. So Megan and Scarlett are the characters, and one of them is a very like kind of type A, organized to an extent, like scrapbooky type, and the other one's kind of like free floating through life a little bit. And they really did such a good job on this book. It was so freaking cute. Can't recommend it enough. I think it's a great summer read. I also think it's a great fall read. I love a good road trip personally, so be sure to check out Hairpin Curves by Aaliyah Winters.
My favorite romance read for the month of July was Deadly Cover-Up by Julianne Lindsay. This is a suspense romance from the Intrigue line from Harlequin, and it is considered a clean romance because there is no explicit or graphic sex on page. In this book, we follow Violet, who is a single mom who comes back to her hometown because her grandmother suffered from a tragic accident. When she arrives, her grandmother is in a coma, so she has no answers to give for all the questions that seem to be piling up, including why she felt it necessary to hire an ex-Army Ranger as her personal bodyguard. That's where Wyatt comes in, and he assumes responsibility for the safety of Violet and her daughter, and they both work together to try to get to the bottom of what is going on and what happened to Violet's grandmother. What I really loved about this book was Wyatt and the way he was with Violet's daughter. She was just so cute. He was so good with her. and it was like they were just like this ready-made family, and he was so protective of her, almost like a dad. He was just so good with her. And there was also a fake dating trope, because when Wyatt comes into town and starts asking all these questions, he has to have a cover story, right? So he just tells everyone that him and Violet are dating. I'm just like, can you get any cuter? Wyatt is just amazing, and I really think you will fall in love with him just like I did. So that is our favorites for the month of July. Go ahead and like my video if you did, comment below, and subscribe to all of our channels. All of our social media platforms will be in the description box below for you. I'll see you next time, avid readers.